All right, second grade friends, it is time for chapter 21. 2 chapters left, 21 and 22. So let's see what happens to Charlotte. We know that Wilbur's life was saved, which is awesome. I hope you enjoyed this story. I hope you have an amazing summer. But before we say goodbye, let Mrs. Fulop read chapter 21 and then I'll also read chapter 22. All right, here we go. Chapter 21, the last day. Charlotte and Wilbur were alone. The families had gone to look for Fern. Templeton was asleep. Wilbur lay resting after the excitement and strain of the ceremony. His medal still hung from his neck. By looking out the corner of his eye, he could see it. "Charlotte," said Wilbur after a while, "why are you so quiet?" "I just like to sit still. I've always been rather quiet." "Yes, but you seem especially quiet today. Do you feel all right?" "I'm just a little tired, perhaps, but I feel peaceful. Your success in the ring this morning was, to a small degree, my success. Your future is assured. You will live securely and safe. Nothing can harm you now. These autumn days will shorten and grow cold into winter. The leaves will shake loose from the trees and fall. Christmas will come, and the snow of winter. You will live and enjoy the beauty of a frozen world. For you mean a great deal to the Zuckermans, and he will not harm you ever. And then winter will pass, and the days will start to lengthen, and the ice will melt on the pond. The song sparrow will return and sing, the frogs will awake, the warm wind will blow again. All these sights and sounds and smells will be yours to enjoy, Wilbur, this lovely world we live in, each precious day." Charlotte stopped. A moment later, a tear came to Wilbur's eye. "Oh, Charlotte," he said, "to think that when I first met you, I thought you were cruel and bloodthirsty." When he recovered from his emotion, he spoke again. "Why did you do all this for me? I don't deserve all this. I didn't deserve anything from you." "You've been my friend," replied Charlotte. "That in itself is a tremendous thing. I wove these webs because I like you. We're friends, and that's what friends do for each other. After all, what's a life anyway? We're born, we live, and we die. A spider's life, we can't help but being a little messy, with all the trappings and eatings of flies. By helping you, perhaps I was trying to live a better life, just a bit. Anybody's life can stand to be a little bit better." "Well," said Wilbur, "I'm not good at making speeches. I don't have a gift for words, but you saved me, Charlotte, and I would gladly give up my life for you. I really would." "I am sure you would, and I thank you and your generous sentiments." "Charlotte," said Wilbur, "we're all going home today. The fair's almost over. Won't it be wonderful to be back in the barn cellar again with the sheep and the geese? Are you anxious to get home?" For a moment Charlotte said nothing. Then she spoke in a voice so low Wilbur could hardly hear her words. "I will not be going back to the barn," she said. Wilbur leapt to his feet. "Not going back?" he cried. "Charlotte, what are you talking about?" "I'm done for," she replied. "In a day or two, I will be dead. I haven't even had the strength to climb down the wall and into your crate to go with you. I doubt if I have enough silk left in my spinnerets to lower me to the ground so I wouldn't have to climb." Hearing this, Wilbur threw himself down in pain and sorrow. Great sobs racked his body. He heaved and grunted with desolation. Charlotte, he moaned. Charlotte, you're my true friend. Come now, let's not make a scene, said the spider. Be quiet, Wilbur, and just stop thinking about it. But I can't stand it, shouted Wilbur. I won't leave you alone to die. If you're going to stay here, I shall too. Don't be ridiculous, Wilbur. You can't stay here. Mr. and Mrs. Zuckerman, Lurvy, Mr. and Mrs. Arble, and the others will all be here any minute. And they'll shove you in the crate and away you'll go back to the farm. Besides, it doesn't make any sense for you to stay here. There would be no one to feed you. The fairgrounds will be empty, deserted. Wilbur was in a panic. He raced round and round the pen and suddenly he had an idea. The egg sack. And the 514 little spiders that would be hatched in the spring. If Charlotte herself was unable to come home to the barn, at least he could take her babies. Wilbur rushed to the front of the pen. He put his front feet up on the top board and he looked around and he saw the Arbles and the Zuckermans approaching and he knew he had to act quickly. Where's Templeton? He demanded. He's in the corner under the straw, sleeping, said Charlotte. Wilbur rushed over, pushed his strong snout under the rat and tossed him in the air. Templeton! Screamed Wilbur. Pay attention. The rat, surprised out of a sound sleep, looked first dazed and then disgusted. What kind of monkey shine is this? He growled. Can a rat catch a wink of sleep without being rudely puffed up into the air? Listen to me, cried Wilbur. Charlotte is very ill. She has only a short time to live. She cannot accompany us home because of her condition. Therefore, it is absolutely necessary that I take her egg sac with me. You can reach it. I can't climb. You are the only one who can get it. There's not a second to be lost. Please, 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 Templeton, climb up and get the egg sac. The rat yawned. He straightened his whiskers. Then he looked up at the egg sac. So, he said in disgust, so it's old Templeton to the rescue again, is it? Templeton, do this. Templeton, do that. Templeton, run down to the dump and get me a magazine clipping. Templeton, get me a piece of string so I can try to spin a web. Always asking Templeton. Just hurry, said Wilbur. Just hurry up, Templeton. But the rat was in no hurry. He began imitating Wilbur's voice. So hurry up, Templeton, is it? He said. Ho, ho, ho. And what thanks do I ever get for these services, I would like to know. Never a kind word for old Templeton. Only abuse, wisecracks, side remarks. Never a kind word for this rat. Templeton, said Wilbur in desperation. If you don't stop talking and get busy, all will be lost. I will die. I will die of a broken heart. Please climb up. Templeton lay back in the straw. Lazily, he placed his forepaws behind his head, crossed his knees in an attitude of complete relaxation. Die of a broken heart, he mimicked. How touching. My. I notice it's always me that you come to when you're in trouble. But I never heard of anyone dying on my account. Would anyone die of a broken heart because of me? No. Who cares about old Templeton? Just get up, screamed Wilbur. Stop acting like a spoiled child. Stop just thinking about yourself all the time. Templeton grinned and laid still. Who made the trip to the dump? Why, it was Templeton. Who saved Charlotte's life? By scaring that Arble away with the rotten goose egg when he was going to hit her with the stick. Oh, it was old Templeton. Who bit your tail, got you back on your feet this morning after you fainted in front of the whole crowd? Me, old Templeton. Had it ever occurred to you that I'm sick of running errands and doing favors for everyone? What do you think I am? A rat of everything? Wilbur was desperate. The people were coming and the rat was failing him. Suddenly he remembered Templeton's fondness for food. Templeton, he said, I will make a promise. Get Charlotte's egg sack for me, and from now on, I will let you eat my food first before I eat it, instead of after, and just eating what is left. When Lurvy feeds me, I will let you have your choice of everything in the trough. I won't touch anything, and I will eat what you leave left over. The rat sat up. Are you serious? He said. I promise. Cross my heart. All right. It's a deal, said the rat. He walked up to the wall and started to climb. His stomach was still swollen from last night's gorge. Groaning, complaining, he pulled himself slowly to the ceiling. He crept along until he reached the egg sack. Charlotte moved aside for him. She was dying, but she had a little strength to move. Then Templeton bared his long, ugly teeth and began snipping at the threads that fastened the egg sack to the ceiling. Wilbur watched from below. Use extreme care, he said. I don't want a single one of those eggs to be harmed. There's thread in my mouth, complained the rat. It's like cotton candy or something, but doesn't taste good. But Templeton worked away at the job and managed to cut the egg sack adrift and carry it to the ground, where he dropped it in front of Wilbur. Wilbur heaved a great sigh of relief. Thank you, Templeton, he said. I will never forget this as long as I live. Yeah, neither will I, said the rat, picking the thread out of his teeth. I feel as though I've eaten a spool of thread. Well, home we go. Templeton crept into the crate and buried himself in the straw. He got out just in time. Lurvy and John Arble, Mr. Zuckerman, came along at that moment, followed by Mrs. Arble and Mrs. Zuckerman, and Avery and Fern. Wilbur had already decided how he would carry the egg sack. There was only one way possible. He carefully took the little bundle and put it in his mouth, gently on the top of his tongue. He remembered what Charlotte told him, that the egg sack is waterproof and strong. It felt funny on his tongue, and it made him drool a little bit. And of course, he couldn't talk. But as he was being shoved in the crate, he looked up at Charlotte. He gave her a wink. She knew he was saying goodbye in the only way he could. And she knew her children would be safe with Wilbur. Goodbye, she whispered. And then she summoned enough strength to wave one of her front legs at him. She never moved again. The next day, as the Ferris wheel was being taken apart, the horses from the race were being loaded into the vans. Entertainers were packing up their instruments and driving away in their trailers. Charlotte died. The fairgrounds were soon deserted. The sheds and the buildings were empty and locked. The infield was littered with trash, was being cleaned. Nobody of the hundreds of people that visited the fair knew what an important part that gray spider played. She played the most important part of all, and no one was with Charlotte when she died. Mrs. Fulop's going to start crying. That is the end of chapter 21, did we say? Yes, chapter 21. There are some pictures. I think just one. Of Templeton climbing up the wall to get the egg sack. So there's Templeton. He has the egg sack in his mouth, if you notice. And then that's Charlotte. Oh, that was sad. That was a sad chapter, second grade. All right, my friends, we have chapter 22 left. So one more chapter left. I hope it's a happy chapter with the hatching, maybe, of Charlotte's egg sack. That would be wonderful to cheer us up. Take care. Have a great day.